Now, yes, just because, a good chunk of animated things were geared towards kids, you know, and, the ones that didn't go in that direction. Again, I can't, go on without mentioning, heavy metal, that 1970s animated movie anthology series. I think it's more of an anthology because although it has separate stories, they all involve that weird shiny circle thing. Oh, and the less I say of Heavy Metal 2000, the better, because that movie sucked. The animation wasn't even that good, and it sucked. And it didn't help that it was basically one whole story. Oh crap. Alright, there I went on my damn tangents. I'm gonna die, ain't I? Okay, can I escape this? Is it unescapable? Okay. Crap. Okay. Again, it's not called great games played poorly if they're not even gonna, if I don't get used to controlling or playing really well. But definitely the original Heavy Metal. There were a lot of, again, going on a tangent. There were a lot of, like, in the 90s and in the late 80s and 90s all the way to the thousands, again, everybody saw animated features as something for kids. And again, it's a medium. It's a way of telling a story. You can tell a story either way possible, depending on, it doesn't have to appeal to a certain audience. Just because it's animated doesn't mean it has to appeal to kids. I mean, in the mid 80s and early 80s, there were a lot of animated features with a lot of mature content, and they didn't really have to, appeal to the kids. I mean, have you ever watched, was it Watership Down? And I don't mean the newer, I think there was a newer version of Watership Down that's like broken up into episodes, but I mean of, there was this animated feature, Watership Down in the mid 80s. There was about, rabbits trying to survive, but the gore and the violence and the blood, again, for someone who say, oh, it's a kid's thing, but again, it's based on a book, I believe. But the fact that it had that kind of thing about rabbits with diseases, rabbits who kill each other just in order to survive the woods or survive in life, and what the world out, I guess their own vicinity, has to offer in terms of hurting or killing you, just for the sake of survival. Let's see. What other things from the 80s I remember? Is the Plague of Dogs? No. I know. Oh, you know what? One. Damn it, hold on. I'm trying to remember. Oh, here's one that is completely bizarre. The Adventures of not Tom Sawyer. The Misadventures of Huck Finn, Tom Sawyer. I forget what it is. Jules Verne. I don't know. I forget what the name of the animated feature was, but it involved kids and an old man traveling along the world for something, adventures or something. And one of the segments is that these characters meet Satan. Yes, it's one of the most bizarre things ever. But it was a clay animated film from the 80s that had them meeting specific characters, and one of the characters is Satan. He's seen as a body with a disembodied head that would just, what is this? Devil May Cry again. Why is everything Devil May Cry in this thing? Alright, let's see. Where is this gonna lead me to? Okay, profiling again once more. Alright, taking pictures of all this stuff. I got a lolly! Yay! Okay, a lollipop here.
There's definitely something in this town. Do you feel it, Zack? My coffee warned me about it. Yesterday morning, the milk I poured in my coffee made a sign. It said, "Tomorrow you'll arrive in a place that will change your fate."
Definitely save right now, because I don't know where I'm doing. Okay. Do I really have to walk? Oh, and again, back into mature animated films. Again, sorry for the pauses at times. A, I don't want to get in the way of the dialogue in the game as much. And also B, drawing a fart because I know a good chunk of these movies because I've seen them, but also because, like I think I mentioned in one of my other Let's Plays that if you're ever put on the spot, you draw a blank. But I want to at least get something. Again, I mentioned Watership Down, but the other one I was trying to remember was The Plague Dogs, which is basically, the adventures of dogs who escape their captives who are doing experiments on them. Like, fucked up shit. It is fucked up. Of course, we have the animated version of Animal Farm from the original one, the 1940s. Oh, okay, let's meet our other characters.
I didn't think you'd keep me waiting in the rain for so long.
FBI Special Agent, Francis York Morgan. Please, just call me York. That's what everyone calls me.
Agent York?
Good, that's good. Are you the sheriff?
No, I'm Deputy Sheriff Emily Wyatt. George, he's the sheriff. He went looking for you, actually. He should be back soon.
I see.
If you don't mind me asking, did you walk all the way here?
My car broke down, that's all.
Ooh, it's beautiful. Courtney Love? What are you doing here?
Eyes. Definitely worth a trip to the primitive world. By the way, don't mention anything about what happened back there. She'll think you're a psycho. Don't want that, do we, Zack?
Welcome to Greenvale. I'm the sheriff, George Woodman. Call me
His
George.
Triple H Harley Race mustache. Triple H. Try.
FBI Special Agent Francis York Morgan. Please, just call me York. That's what everyone calls me.
Could you tell me why the FBI is so interested in a small-town homicide?
Let's just say it's a personal interest in killers of young women. I'm always looking for new sample cases to help me with my profiling.
Both our superiors have cleared this with each other. You can remain in command. You don't have a problem with this, do you?
No. No problem. Just want to set things straight. Our small town has its share of problems.
We don't like your kind round
one
here.
by one, and maintaining peace and order. You can have your profiling sample, but I need you to understand that.
Of course. Of course. By the way, George, I had a little accident with my car.
Would you rather have him
Someone to
vape?
take care of it?
The vapor.
Oh, and my clothes and luggage are still inside.
All right, don't worry. I'll get my assistant Thomas to take care of it. Do you need anything else?
Thanks.
Bicycle shorts. I need bicycle shorts. Triple
I'll
H.
stop first at the hotel.
That's how you handle a groin tear.
Then I'll join you on your
Wearing
investigation.
bicycle shorts
Don't know how to say
and
this.
jobbing out Goldberg.
I really don't need your help. Unlike some of your corrupt city police officers, I play it by the book. I hope you'll come to appreciate that, Agent Morgan. and we'll handle the investigation. You just think of this as a vacation. Take it easy. Enjoy the
You
nature
city
here.
slickers.
You don't have to be a tree worshiper to appreciate the wild.
We don't like your city folk. We've seen City Slickers 2, The Hunt for Curly's Gold. We know you ain't no Billy Crystal.
There are no cavemen here. We're as far forward as the Middle Ages.
The search for
We've
Curly's
just
Gold.
Met the king.
Okay. Mark Twain! Sorry. It just hit me. It's The Adventures of Mark Twain. Yes, I'm gonna go into that. Again, this was a clay animated feature of the 80s. I don't know what year it was. I know it was the 80s. It was The Adventures of Mark Twain. I had it at the tip of my tongue. The Adventures of Mark Twain has a segment where two kids and Mark Twain visit someone called I think they don't name him. He names himself, and he talks about save. Oh damn, saves are freaking quick. He talks about man and how they start off. What is this?
During the investigation, these puppies are making me go to another town in the boondocks again.
Oh, we get television Twin Peaks esque like open show like. Okay, cool. Like a summary, kind of like you are watching a television show. Gee, what television show is it? I can't say Twin Peaks enough, can I? Yeah, The Adventures of Mark Twain. Okay, why am I here? All right. Thank you, Macaulay Culkin. Let's see. Ooh. Donut. In all its pixelated PlayStation 2 glory. The Adventures of Mark Twain. They meet a character who tells them about war and how even the smallest conflict can destroy a civilization. I remember this because it's burned into my brain. But basically, they meet this character who has interchangeable, like a floating head. He's a disembodied head, so floating above another body. You know what I'm trying to say? Something. I'm confusing myself right now. But basically, he offers them fruit. He's very friendly, and then tells them a story about, here's two creations, man and woman or man and man. That's great. Now let's create. They live in peace and harmony. And well, hold on, where am I? Okay, so now we're in Stephen King's The Shining, and not the television version. I'm talking about the good version of The Shining. The one with the bear giving the dude a blowjob. Okay.
Hold your breath. They can't see you if you hold your breath. Hurry. Like this. Cover your mouth.
Okay. Alright. That's all I need to do? Okay. I'm not gonna for funsies. But basically the story goes, this creature creates two beings out of clay, just to show these kids an example. And in that, he shows them like the life. Like, here's two creatures are created, they live in peace and harmony. But now let's create conflict. Let's give this person this, let's give this person that, and that person is jealous. And throughout that whole ordeal, you see how like jealousy, jealousy and the whole thing about, you wanting to be better than your neighbor, or you wanting being better, or you wanting to be the center of attention, can literally, collapse a civilization to the point that, wars. He creates a little war thing, and all the characters are dead. And then when they find out what's your name, he says, "I'm Satan." It's truly bizarre. Definitely something worth watching. It's really entertaining too, but it's just so bizarre. Something of the 80s, like that was so really, really cool to know that things like that. People took more of a chance in the late 70s, 80s, telling stories like that. Whereas, maybe in the mid 90s and late 90s and all that stuff, people were still, people pushed towards more, doing things for the kids, having the kids, someone please think of the children kind of thing.
I find you humans quite interesting, even though you are a worthless, greedy lot. How annoying that sound is. Fools.
I think I named already some, like Fritz the Cat, Heavy Traffic. There was another American Pop. All three things have something in common. Even the other one was Ralph Bakshi. It's funny that a guy who worked on the original Spider-Man 67 cartoon show was responsible for a lot of like mature animated features. Which again, it shows that, animation is a medium, a way of telling a story. And so, okay, so this is how I change my suits. Green tie. I'll stick with what I have. Thank you very much. Was responsible for a lot of stuff. And, even The Last Unicorn. The Last Unicorn was a great animated feature. I saw that. I remember watching that like multiple times. Because, again, it was one of those times where the school didn't have nothing to do, or they had a special assembly, gather all the kids in the auditorium, or even, when a substitute teacher comes in. It was one of those VHS tapes that was part of the television that you roll out on class. Like, they had certain movies in the budget that they could afford VHS tapes for, so they can show. Of course, some of them like the Miracle of Birth and all that malarkey. But, some of them were, Tiny Toons, How I Spent My Vacation. The other one was The Last Unicorn. One was The Never-Ending Story. The others were, like, certain, like, hygiene educational stuff. Oh, speaking of hygiene, let me look at myself and shave nothing. Hygiene, like, how the peanut gangs, how Charlie Brown brushes his teeth. And I remember one PSA video we watched that had not the Pillsbury Doughboy. Was it the Pillsbury Doughboy? No, it was the Keebler elves telling you how to brush your teeth or whatever bullshit. Mind you, this was Keebler, the company behind making sweet cookies and pastries and whatnot. But they had to do it, I guess, because by order of the law, they had to make one educational PSA about grooming or whatnot. And one of those movies aside, was like Never-Ending Story, Home Alone 1, something to watch during a special assembly, or again, when a substitute teacher was in class and he didn't want to teach you shit. Ooh, looking good. PS2 reflection graphics. If you guys hear like certain stuff going in the background, again, I'm recording during the daytime. So you probably will hear my neighbors or whatever knocking stuff up, running, or playing some loud Spanish music. It is what it is. This is what happens when you live in Queens and live in a basement apartment like I do. Okay, let me see. Can I go anywhere? Or is everything locked? I'm just going to BS around and then just talk a bit. What was I? The most recent, I guess, mature, centered animated feature I saw was a film called Felidae or Felidae. I forget what it is, but basically it has, let's just say it has disemboweled cats. It has cat sex, and it involves cat murder. And I think it was originally French. I forget what it is, but it basically centers about like mysterious murders of cats in a neighborhood, and this freshly, moved in family with their cat. Mind you, the cats talk with themselves, but of course they don't talk with human beings. But basically, it was, I believe, it was a French animated. No, I think it was French, and it was dubbed in English. But I think it only aired in Europe. It never came to the States, although I believe there is a DVD of it, or you can buy it, whatever. I know, yeah. It was originally French. It's a French animated feature. It was dubbed, but for Britain, England aired it. But aside from that, it's definitely if you ever want to see an interesting take on a murder subplot involving cats, mind you, the final scene, and I don't know if this is spoiler much, but the final scene between the baddie cat responsible for the murders and the goodie cat involves the main character, the protagonist, slicing open the baddie's stomach, disemboweling him as he was again going for a pounce. He is disemboweled midair with his guts flopping right out of his gullet. And of course, again, the cat sex scene. And this is my favorite tune of the game. It's such a good tune.
Polly Oxford. Just Polly is fine.
Well then. Thank you, Polly. I'm starving.
Alright, let's roll up and have some
Is everything
breakfast.
all right, Mr. Morgan?
Yes, it's delicious, Polly. My compliments to the chef.
I'm hoping my cooking will bring back repeat guests. Honestly, though, it's been a while since anyone has stayed here.
I couldn't help but notice. Aside from you and me, there seems to be no other guests or workers around.
What's that? The salt's in that white shaker there.
Thank you. I was wondering if there were any other guests or workers here.
Oh, no one else. My husband and I used to run this place, but he's in heaven now.
You've been working here alone since then. Must be hard by yourself.
Oh my, we're all out of pepper. I'm very
I think the
sorry.
music
It
is
must be
coming off
difficult to
louder
run a
than the
hotel by
dialogue. I do
yourself.
apologize.
Well,
I'll
yes,
probably
I
fix
suppose.
that eventually.
I
Sorry.
could just live on my pension. But I have to admit, running a hotel is kind of like a hobby of mine.
That's nice. Polly, it might help to hear you better if you could sit a little closer.
Oh my, Mr. Morgan, you're embarrassing me. So early in the day, too. I think I'm a little too old for you.
And I still love my departed husband. May God rest his soul. I appreciate the invitation, but I'm fine over here.
Polly, I can hardly hear you from all the way over there.
You're exaggerating.
This is fine.
It won't do to be all clumped together with such a large table and cafeteria. We have to make use of all this space.
Now tell me, that wound on your face, what happened?
Let's just say I had some trouble during the last case I was working on. I'm sure it'll heal. It's just a flesh wound.
Oh my, well, there's no need to be the tough guy here. I want you to be able to relax here. I've prepared a special room for you. A famous rock star once stayed in the same room, you know.
Really? I feel honored.
If you need anything at all, just let me know.
No,
I'll help you
that's
out in any way I can.
Zack, the lady is offering to help. Do you want to ask her about the town?
Say, Polly,
Oh, sure, let her talk.
what can you tell me about this town?
Well, let me see. You might know this already.
While I smoke
but
indoors.
the town is called Greenvale. It rains here quite often, but it's a nice place, surrounded with nature. It was a big and prospering lumber town until not so long ago.
used to have a population of over 6,000 people. Less than a tenth of them left now. This hotel was built back then. We saw plenty of guests in those days.
My day. We also celebrated Whacking Day.
I have so many
You know, it was an excuse to beat up on the Irish.
then. I suppose the thought
We took many a beatings, but it was all a good laugh.
Oh, yes.
It was for all good fun.
It rings in the morning and at night to let the whole town know the time. You'll hear it many times during your stay. It's a beautiful sound. And you'll love it too, I think.
I look forward to hearing it then.
Anything else you'd like to know about?
Yes, actually, Polly. Could you tell me about
Please
the
tell me
shops
where I'm
around
talking
here?
about tourism.
Well, there aren't many. It is a small town, after all. You can do most of your shopping at the Milk Barn convenience store.
The Milk
The
Barn.
couple who run it
It's a
are
pornography
unique
store.
pair.
I was
I'm sure
buying
you're gonna
pornography.
like them. The A&G Diner is a great place to eat. They might be open even if my kitchen is closed. If you want to go to a bar, there are two. The Galaxy of Terror and the Sweary 65.
Gee, Galaxy of
I don't
Terror.
care much
That's a
for
movie
either
I
of
can
them.
definitely
Bars are for
quote.
the younger folks.
Nice,
We also
nice
have a gas
homage to
stand,
Roger
of course,
Corman.
the art gallery, and even a gunsmith. You should be able to find what you need.
Thank you, Polly.
Well, Mr. Morgan, I better start cleaning up. You just take it easy. I'll bring your
Take it
coffee
easy.
out in a moment.
Thank you, Polly. I have to warn you, though, I am very particular about my coffee. The very best you have, please.
I understand. I'll be right back with it.
Mm-hmm. Now I must stare into my coffee. Okay. Look into my coffee. Why not? I can see all the semi-pixelated milk and cream.
Did you see that, Zack? Clear as a crisp spring morning. F.K. in the coffee. I knew I could count on it. Never fails. Now, then,
Okay, please.
let's get
That model was not meant to smile at all. Oh, let's see. Back into animated features. Let me just get this and then continue on. Can I go? Oh no, that's just glass. I think the two most depressing animated features that I've ever seen, and I don't know about my any other people, but the two most depressing ones you'll ever see are, of course, Grave of the Fireflies, which I only seen once, and that's enough to say I do never want to see it again. Even as a dare, even if someone's gonna pay me money for it, literally that is one of like the saddest animated features ever. And God, I just thinking about it is like depressing. And another one that I don't think anyone outside the Europe, everyone, it's one of those any outside of the United States knows about it. I think it was definitely Europe. I think British. It was called something about the wind. Something of the wind. All I remember is that the win something, not Wind Waker. That's something else. About two elderly couple that. Oh God, I remember a while ago. I know something with wind, but I know it's about two elderly couple during, I think, a war, and they get exposed to chemicals. It was during a time of chemical warfare, or some kind of bomb went off, and they slowly but surely die. It's really sad. It's sad. It is in Grave of the Fireflies. Like, you'll cry. Oh, okay. But oh, good. There's no dialogue here. Thank God. But it's one of those that's really, really wrenches at the heart kind of thing. That, Grave of the Fireflies and something about the wind blowing. I forgot what the actual title is, but I remember that. It's really, it's definitely sad. And, it sucks, it's a plain example of why, like, it sucks when these movies or this type of thing is aimed towards kids, because you know what, like, animation isn't for kids. It can be depending on the subject matter, but overall it's just another way of telling a story. It's just a medium. Like I said, like, you can make, again, the 70s and 80s had a whole bunch of them, and like, you don't see anybody really complaining or. But then again, this was also because the ratings, we didn't have a PG-13. We only had G, PG, R, and to an extent, oh, okay, that was an easy chapter. Even to an extent, we had X, and of course rated X, but X was the highest it became, and that was for RoboCop, the original cut, the original director's cut of RoboCop, since it had more gore scenes of, especially that famous scene where Ed 209 shoots that corporate schmuck. The original cut, that scene was extended, so that dude was getting shut up more than you originally saw in the theatrical cut. Luckily, the director's cut, you can get it on Criterion, and a good chunk of the recent releases on Blu-ray is the original, the X-rated cut. Oh, I got a car, cool. Okay, military time, I guess.
So we have King George to thank for preparing a car for me. A pleasant surprise, eh, Zack? Let's take it for a spin.
Oh, great. If the character control was semi-janky, let's see how this car driving jank goes.
This place simply amazes me. The keys were left on the front hood, and nobody stole the car. Values. This town has what the country needs. Values. Let's head over to the sheriff's department.
Okay, I got a car key so I can drive. Oh god, this, please. Oh, good. Change that thing. Change it. Thank you.